Is a stock 2024 WRX fast? That is the topic of today's video. And instead of doing the typical draggy run or doing a race in Mexico, I'll be giving you guys my personal experience of how fast this car actually is from a daily driver perspective and how it measures up to cars that I've owned in the past. Anyways, friends, before we get into it, I'm Sep, a car enthusiast making videos for other enthusiasts like yourselves. So feel free to subscribe to get your weekly dose of YouTube car content. Let's go. For me, there are a few schools of thought for how fast a car is in general. The first one being the numbers. So how fast is this car from 0 to 60 miles per hour or 0 to 100 kilometers per hour? And Subaru claims that this car achieves those times in 6 seconds flat. Car and Driver got around 5.5 seconds and Motor Trend got around 5.9. So let's say on average this car accelerates to 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.75 seconds. Now, not blitzing fast, but 0 to 60 times, there are a lot of different factors that come into play when you're doing those tests that either skew the times in advantage or against. Now, if we want to do comparison to a previous generation STI, so let's say the last generation STI, the 2021 STI, Car and Driver got 5.3 seconds for an acceleration time, 0 to 60. So definitely faster than the WRX, but not by much. And if you actually search up videos online of this car stock versus an STI stock, you would be surprised. Heavy Metal WRX, when his car was still stock, and also shout out to Heavy Metal WRX. If you guys haven't heard of him or haven't seen his channel yet, go check it out. It'd be crazy if you haven't though, because he's one of the biggest VB WRX YouTubers slash influencers online right now. So check out all his content. I'll link his channel in the description below. But anyways, when his car was still stock, he raced a 2018 STI stock. A quick highway pull, it wasn't anything too crazy. And his car kept up just fine and actually pulled ahead a little bit. And considering that this car is rated at 271 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, and it was able to keep up with the mighty STI's 310 horsepower and 290 pound-feet of torque, is pretty impressive. Now, numbers aren't everything though. Sometimes you just have to get into a car and go for a rip. And that's what we're gonna do today. From a daily driver perspective, this car is plenty quick. For all the maneuvers you could possibly do, overtaking, merging, even attacking a highway ramp, I'm not really needing more. For my day-to-day commute, I don't need more power, honestly. And this power band is so much smoother than previous generation WRXs and STIs. And the reason I know that is because I own two previous generation STIs, a GC8 STI with the EJ20K and a Bug-Eye STI with the EJ207 version 7. Now, in those cars, if you put the foot down and you're not above 3,000 or 3,500 RPM, there's not much going on. You kind of have this blank space and then the turbo rushes in. Whereas this car, peak boost hits at around 2,000 RPM. And we live in that lower RPM range for daily commutes, city commutes. So there's a lot of response down low, which makes this car super easy to drive day to day. Now, the question might be asked, all right, well, how fast is this car compared to your previous generation STIs? Well, those cars were lighter and had more horsepower. So I can say for a fact, those cars felt faster, but not by a huge margin. I also feel like the EJ STI motor feels faster just from how it's tuned. Like I said earlier, if you put your foot down and you're below that 3,000 or 3,500 RPM range, not much is going on. But if you just stay in it, the turbo punches you like a freight train. Like that car rips so hard, it kind of sucks you to the back of your seat. And that sensation of speed is exhilarating, thrilling, it's fun, it's old school. This car, it won't do that same type of drama. And that's maybe what you want out of a car. And I could see a lot of STI owners hopping into this car from their STI and feeling a little bit underwhelmed of how the power delivery is. And some people may say it's mundane and boring and there's no more old schoolness and that visceral feeling of boost. On the flip side, this is what a refined turbocharged car feels like. It's optimized for all type of driving conditions, and that old school feel, I guess, was not practical for Subaru anymore. They had to get with the times and get with a powertrain that is more suitable for daily driving and also fuel efficient. However, if you're coming from an STI and you're considering buying a new VB WRX, I don't think you're gonna be really that disappointed. This car is so easy to drive fast. There's no rev hang, the engine response is fantastic. But how fast is this around corners and twisty roads? And the answer is, it's pretty quick. It feels so goddamn nice on a back road. This is where this car lives. This is where it shines. The chassis of the VB WRX is stiffer than any previous gen WRX or STI chassis. So less structural torsion means that there's less pressure on the suspension when you're taking a hard corner. And that results in really good handling. You feel that when you're taking a corner. Now this one isn't really that sharp, but it just feels so confidence inspiring. Here's a little tighter corner here. Oh my God, so damn good. Let's say you go test drive a new WRX and the speed is underwhelming for you. The aftermarket has all of your solutions. My friend sent me a photo of this 2022 WRX with 3 power mods on E50 flex fuel, making 415 wheel horsepower. And if you want to see how fast this car is with that type of power, here's a video of it racing a modified Corvette. But we're not talking about how fast a modified WRX is. We're talking about how fast is this car stock. And the answer for me is it depends. For daily driving, for urban commutes, when you have a mix of highway and city, this car is plenty quick. If I lived in Germany near the Autobahn, then maybe this car will feel pretty slow, because I'll need to drive ridiculous speeds every day. But for regular driving like this on the highway, doing 100 kilometers per hour or in stop and go traffic, this car has plenty of power. But also, it's pretty subjective, because let's say you're coming from a modified 335, making 450 wheel horsepower, and you're daily driving that. If you're hopping into this car, it'll feel pretty slow, to be honest. Whereas on the other hand, my younger brother, who just graduated high school, he hops in this car, and he hasn't been in a lot of sports cars, if any. He will think this car is very quick because his perception of speed and how fast the car is not that developed. He hasn't been in a really fast car and felt his face get ripped off. And all in all, yeah, I really like the power this car has to offer. I'm not really needing much more. Maybe in a year when I'm getting bored of it, then I'll modify it. But for now, I'm enjoying the power stock with a warranty. Anyways, friends, that's it for this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.